Recording. All right, let's call the meeting to order at 12:06 p.m. Diane, Laura, myself, Richard, Carol, and Allison, Kathy, and Roger absent, and there's no public today. See, so we'll skip over public comments, and if we don't have anyone, prior meeting minutes. So we mean for February 11th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve those.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Move on to, do we want to start with Kendra or just having financials?
Is she with people now?
No, they're not.
Little people.
kids.
I stay with sooner than later, because
Yeah,
it seems like it
No,
gets later.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. We both have childcare covered for the entire day.
Nice.
Okay. What are the
She
minutes?
is with somebody.
Okay.
Maybe we could do financials and then.
Okay, yeah, let's see the financials.
Alright, hold on, I just.
I don't have the agenda.
It's up on the screen.
Oh, God, thank you.
Good.
That works.
Alright, let's. Hold
on.
Financial.
So you want to start with the balance sheet since that's the first on that, on the, anybody have anything that just immediately pops out,
190 net pay, 0. That's that remnant thing from the last time. That's kind of not sure what it.
Yeah,
Do you have any idea where that's coming from? Okay.
Unfortunately, no,
It's just the program.
it's something goofy, yeah.
Okay.
It's the 190. Line number
Line 190.
right where the
Sorry.
mouse is sitting about in the center of the screen there.
oh, there.
It's a $0 amount, but it's
Yeah.
Sorry.
populating for some
that's under
reason.
assets, yeah.
That's in there. Oh, adjusted it.
Just,
Yeah, it's
just
up.
trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Why it's populating
Yeah.
with its 0, so.
If there's like a missing number or something there.
Oh,
Oh,
it's selected.
Oh.
What happened? Was only trying to get it to highlight, black it out. But apparently,
not redacted. There you go.
my good intentions. That's
Right? You're welcome. Accounts receivable, Vermont Communication, is that the same thing that's listed down, where is it? On line 305, under equity, the Vermont Community Foundation, is that, it just says Vermont Com.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
VCF, Vermont Community
Okay.
Foundation
I just wasn't sure what Com stood for.
community
Community, I figured.
in this instance. Yeah. And I haven't
Just don't
gotten
wanna see.
anything, a new statement from them. They do quarterly, and it usually takes 2 months into the quarter to get the previous one.
Oh.
Very, very slow. I haven't received any for a while, so.
Your stupid
Is that
question,
the one-
it says 35, 6 and 9, and down here it's 42.34.
Where are you? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, the difference.
Total bank accounts for Montcalm says 35,609,000. And down below under equity, Vermont Community Foundation, line 304 says 42,334.
I don't know why it's giving different numbers. It
Yeah.
could be pulling from the same place. I'll have to look into that. So that is on which form, or which,
This is the
document?
balance sheet.
Balance sheet, okay. Okay. I don't know why it's giving 2 different numbers. I'll check. It could. It could. I mean, I believe it went up the last statement we got, but I couldn't even tell you what, I think that was October was the last time I got one in.
I forwarded that to you on February 24th.
I think I missed an email. I'll have to look for that. Okay, February 24th.
Yeah,
What is
Okay.
the,
it's for the community fund that you're talking about.
okay. Okay. So what is the correct number according to your,
Ending fund balance is 40,906.61.
So neither of those.
so somewhere
Neither of
in the
those.
middle there.
So, well, if I missed that email
Yeah.
coming in, then I didn't enter it into QuickBooks, so it wouldn't be updated on there.
Yeah, that's not gonna be in there.
Yeah. Show the previous balance on there. On that.
It shows.
Okay, so the 38,425 that you said, Diane? That was the previous balance, right?
35,609, and then down here it says 42,334.
Okay, I'll have to double check. I don't know why it's giving two separate numbers. But, yeah, I'm not sure why it's two different numbers. I'll have to look into it. I'll do the drill down on the account and figure it out. Hopefully figure it out. And clearly I need to update that one. I missed that statement.
I think those are the only questions I have on that one.
HRA fund is through,
There's a second page.
is it through July? That number, or is it?
They restart in July 1st. And I just got from Marco and entered the check just now. In fact, one of those checks there is the February HRA. So, but we just got it, so it's being written out in March. Those are usually have 2 months to them. But when we talked about before, how when we first set up the HRA accounts and all, what we had said was as long as the fiscal year 30th stuff is there, the board wasn't too worried about whether it was February or March, because I don't have a way to check. I just, whatever Marco sends to me is, they have the data.
Right.
I just get a total. So the February number is getting paid in March, as long as at the year end, fiscal year end, we're all caught up and squared away. That's the number that you guys are concerned with, so. Thought about that last night, going, oh, he emailed me and the reports are gonna show it as nothing paid out of it for February because I didn't have them.
Yeah,
So,
it just came in.
That'll show somewhere else here,
but yeah, but it won't show until next month.
Next month.
but it'll be here, not there, because that's our,
Correct.
yeah, thanks. Working on this.
Anybody else? If nobody has anything else for balance sheet. Move on to the next one. Of the loss.
Oh, that's not it.
Oh, I thought I did.
On if Dover paid us.
The interest income, it's just from our bank account
From
or,
the market account.
okay.
Still have some like oversight with the town, with our finances. Do you have connections with Marco? Do we? do anything like that?
Monthly, when I send you guys the reports, those go to Marco also. And then I assume going forward every year will be the audit stuff and getting
Thank
caught
you.
up with that. But yeah, he does get those every month too.
Great. Because that was something we decided we
Yeah.
really wanted.
Yeah, we wanted to have that extra layer.
Mm.
Yes.
Transparent as possible.
Yeah, I just thought about the other day, and I thought, you know,
We send them to him too, in case they have any questions.
so.
Line 5310, equipment, furnishing, services and maintenance, 599. It seems like a purchase. Do we know what that was a purchase of? No, hand me the purple envelope. Maybe I can, oh,
Sorry, I was thinking it was. I'm just going. Maybe I could- Because here's the,
it just seems like a one large purchase like that price.
was 53,
53.
5310.
Yeah, right. That's the,
How many things are at even numbers?
yeah, that's why,
So it's not on the. 5310, we had 540 for cloud storage box
oh, okay.
Oh, so it's like annual.
and
Yeah,
$59 for the Eliminator site development.
Elementor.
Elementor, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yearly.
Sorry.
What?
Cloud one yearly.
Yes. Yeah, they're both yearly.
So just those two things.
That just, it popped out at me at such an even number.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, did we
$1
make a
under,
large?
under. It's like, oh, we bought a nice piece of.
Yeah.
No.
yeah, Make a large.
Very large TV in my house.
That price?
The $100.
Up that a little bit too.
So, our battery backup died,
Yeah.
in January. And, they had to come and replace it. So that includes our monthly expense and the cost for them coming to fix it.
Okay.
And the battery backup itself. So that's one thing that I am going to be looking at soon is that paying a service fee with them.
Yeah.
And then when some,
That should have
like,
been.
Service.
dollars for you
Yeah.
to come and I think it was like,
Another
I
two.
think it was almost $300 for them to, or more than $300 when they
Did
came.
they explain why?
No,
Maybe
No.
they didn't know, or like you just slipped through and you just need to tell them.
I don't, I mean, we also get charged for them shipping us toner. When they FedEx us
Mm.
toner, they charge us for the FedEx fee, which
Oh,
I think is ridiculous, right? So,
Yeah.
well. Oh, is Kendra not up there? I'll be right there.
So while I can pull
Yeah,
out this
so-
invoice real quick while you guys are.
Yeah, so.
Since you're talking
looking
this one here.
into Maybe looking at it different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 'cause
here,
I thought
this
the
is the
service fee was
invoice.
Part of that whole
Well, I
deal.
thought too.
This is the invoice for that. If you want to peek at that one, the second page there is the invoice from them.
really pricey for it.
Maybe she needs to question.
And
because they're
that-
paying for the service.
It's been asking for a replacement copier for
Yeah.
over a year.
You know?
And they, in my opinion, are brushing her off, just gonna, well, yeah, we'll get you on the list.
Yeah. Well, some
This
small
thing is a
stuff.
dinosaur and
There.
now it doesn't,
This should have
it's,
been covered by the fact that we're paying a monthly fee.
I
for
would-
everything that's
I
supposed
would
to be
agree.
working.
I would agree. Apparently that's not how they're set up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pay $100 a month, like rental for the machine, and then anything else we still pay above. And it's a crummy machine at this point, so I've been like nudging her to. In fact, I've gotten her some names from other
Yeah.
places around town that have
Thank you for
systems,
helping with
and
that.
like,
Yeah.
call Rico and call, some of these other
I
ones.
think maybe
so
we should
even after our web, not web.
not push that to
WB
the top,
Mason.
but have that something that can be addressed. With,
month.
this month. at
Yeah, I
some
think
point.
Allison is looking for,
Well, I know
prices.
Ellis is out for a bit, so I don't want to put too much on Allison's plate, making her do that while Ellis is out, because that's a lot for one person to do.
Well, I would definitely be like, we had WB Mason at Petty and the fee was not that much different. The only thing that complicates it is here they also host our server. So, yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure,
So what, I mean, so that includes
Yeah.
that fee too, so.
but we're also going to next year, Windows is going to stop, supporting all of the computers that we have here, all of the desktops. So,
Next year or this year?
October
this year.
October this
Yeah.
year.
Oh,
So,
Mine too.
yeah.
Windows 10.
Yeah, they won't, but you won't be able to update them. All the computers we have here won't be able to be updated.
So we need,
So we're going to have to purchase at least,
we have not budgeted for that.
Not necessarily new computers. You can upgrade your operating system, but I don't know how
no,
old your
our
stuff is.
computers are too old.
Okay.
Alice has already looked into it.
Okay.
And,
So scratch that.
our computers are too old to update to the new operating system.
Mm.
So, we found this out like 3 weeks after we submitted our budget, which was fun.
So this will be until, when are they not going to?
So
service them?
October is when they won't be. So October might be like the end of summer might be a good time to switch things over, get a new printer, get a new service contract, and maybe not have we pay for Dropbox. We pay almost $500 a year for Dropbox. We don't really need a server in addition to that. So that could be something that we
Might
look
be able to
at.
absorb it
Yeah.
that way.
But doing something like that in the summer would be, I think, detrimental to all of us because we're just so busy in the summer. If something went down for a couple days in the summer, it would make a really big deal. In the fall, we could probably get away with it for a day or two.
Are there any grants that we could apply?
I was
Yeah.
gonna think the same.
You're really good at that.
Well,
so.
yeah, so I'll definitely be looking at TechSoup to get stuff from hardware from TechSoup because they offer nonprofits discounts. You can get Microsoft discounts from them. You can get hardware discounts from them. So I'll be looking at them. And then, yeah, unfortunately, grants are not as plentiful as they were like a few months ago. So that is going to be something that we have to look at too. But yes, absolutely. I will keep my eye open for grants and save us as much money as we can.
Mhm.
All right.
I think we would really at that point focus on the staff computers, like the 3 staff
Yeah,
computers should be updated first.
Okay.
And then if the public computers don't have support for a few months, it's not the end of the world.
How often are the public computers people are using something that would
Somebody uses a public computer every day.
Okay.
Will
Are
still
they-
function.
Yeah, they'll still
Yeah,
work. They just
yeah.
won't have.
Yeah,
everything goes
that's what I'm
wrong here.
asking.
The security updates won't happen.
Are they doing stuff on them that would require updated?
A lot of time it's just like, right now we have a lot of people printing out their IRS tax forms and stuff like that. So that will still work.
And how
Yeah.
many computers are there? There's
We
3,
have
right?
3 public computers. Yeah.
Yeah. We have 2.
Yeah. I mean, this one doesn't get used as often as the other 2 out there,
Right.
which I think is funny because it's like the quietest space.
Yeah.
But I think our usage is more people just coming to print stuff out because nobody has home printers anymore.
Got paper shipping for time.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people paying shipping costs.
Yes, yeah.
I did too.
And did you call them and question them about
I have
that?
not, no.
Oh, well, maybe we could, because that
Yeah.
might be something that could be refunded. They might have just overlooked it. you know?
Yeah, okay. I'll call today.
Yeah. Sometimes, there's human error,
Mhm.
so.
I would be very interested to see what the service contract looks like from them. I'm wondering if we have a copy of that anywhere.
All right. Any other questions, comments on profit law?
No.
All right. Let's move on to budget versus actual.
This is the one that I always like.
That's the last.
Yeah, thanks. And the top is, if it's negative, that means it's a
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
a plus.
Like
And
that.
then, yeah, I always have to clarify that because I know it in my head,
Yeah.
but I'm like,
Yep.
just want to make sure.
Yep.
Yeah, me too. So the negative, so like if we're looking at grants, that's money that we have.
Mhm.
Yes,
1,200.
yes, that means we got
Budgeted.
way more
It
than we
would get
budgeted for.
300, but we got 1,200, so we're
Yeah.
over. Okay.
And then we got that 243K from the town of Dover,
Mhm.
so that's in.
And if it's positive there, then we don't have enough kind of thing.
Um,
No,
No.
positive would just read, so the
That's how much
percentage
we
is
use
normal.
of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like for the copier use, we've used 77 out of the 400.
And that probably doesn't include
Actually, no,
what we
that's
just
actually-
paid, right?
Those are me.
That should include, yes, the receipts that are in this folder
But you
here.
said that we're paying 100
100 a month, I
a
agree.
month, but we budgeted 400.
You
for
said,
the
you said a
year.
little bit less than 100, so is that 7732 usually what we?
I'm sorry,
Oh,
for,
we're talking about the copier, line
The
411.
Copier use.
so that
that different?
is,
That's the income one.
yes, that's the income
Oh,
one.
sorry.
So, yeah. Yeah, if you go down to,
let's go down.
The other one's copier expense.
yeah,
5318.
Yeah, okay.
318 is,
So 11667, is that what we usually, that's the budget, that's usually what we pay?
no, we actually usually pay, I think is it $100
100 even.
even?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but that just worked.
So
that's
it was
just how
probably the
breaks it
100
down.
plus
I think we,
shipping for a toner or,
Yeah.
or something.
So we'll be
Incidentals.
over based on this fence that we just
Yes.
got for $100.
Yeah, with the backup, battery backup,
yeah,
that bumped it.
the good news is we own the battery backup now, so it's
Oh, okay.
ours. So. I can't take that. I mean, but I could have, very well could have bought one and installed it myself for a lot less.
Yeah.
Because I unplugged everything.
But service contracts.
Yeah.
On the income line, uncategorized income. What is that?
Like random checks we get.
Okay, it's just like donations.
Yeah.
and
Most
stuff
of them
like
go
that.
into that 400 general account.
Okay. But
But
just,
so every once in a while, something will come in like on Square when you're entering or when you're accepting it from the bank,
mhm.
it puts in a number automatically for an account number. And every once in a while, one gets past me that I click match before I change the number.
Okay,
So I'm gonna guess it's that, but I'll have to go look. peek at it.
okay, all right.
it's
So
not
eventually,
extra
it
income from,
it'll
It-
get categorized.
just a
Yeah,
general-
yeah.
Okay.
It's just something I just gotta catch up on.
It's just general
not-
donations.
someone donated
something.
$500.
No, I think we budgeted for,
Yeah, the budget of 2,500.
And we,
Well, looks like nothing has gone in.
I don't think we budgeted for uncategorized income.
that might just be a generic number thrown in.
In the system.
So did we receive 3,500?
No,
No, that's,
But it's under income.
yes, but it's,
we
it's-
received the 29167 on the other side.
yeah. If you look at it, it says budget. We budgeted 3,500 and we're still waiting for 3,500. So the percent is.
Or
100.
if you look under the February columns, the budget number is the 291. So that's where it breaks it down by, dividing that 3,500 by 12. But the spot before it under actual is blank, meaning there isn't anything that applies to it for February.
Yeah, we definitely didn't budget uncategorized income. So I don't,
Yeah, that's just like
Why is it showing 3,500 for the year for what we budgeted that we? And then nothing came off of it, but we haven't received anything.
No,
No.
so the
And it's
actuals,
just, okay.
Right.
so under actuals, it's blank, but we haven't received anything in that
Okay,
category.
I'm all set, thank
Yeah.
you. This is all correct with like the remaining 30.
uncategorized?
Yeah.
Or
no money budgeted.
which line are you looking at?
Total, percentage that we have remaining. For all of those, are they correct?
The total income?
I'm going down to expenses now.
And I didn't hear which line are you looking at?
Oh, God, I'm just,
Or just overall?
expenses, looking at like salaries, retirement, payroll, health and disability. Are we where we're supposed to be right now? There's nothing under health and disability or workers' comp for actual,
Mhm.
probably because. Still.
Well, I think
So that stuff all, my understanding is that's all wrapped up in what we're paying to the town of Dover.
Okay,
So we don't see the numbers that come out. It's broken down into that, but we just write that one lump sum to the town when they send us the
okay.
email with the balance.
yeah, I mean, they all look like we're on.
Roger have any insight into this? He said he was gonna send.
He was
Send
having
the
trouble opening the
questions.
files, so I just resent them to him again today, and I haven't heard back, but he was traveling today, I think, too,
Yeah.
so.
Have you met with him yet?
Line 5320 bank charges. I see nothing for this month, but I see that in the total. There was the negative 4873. Was that
Yes.
that returned?
Yes,
thing
that
from
was
another-
the service fees that they refunded to us.
Okay, all right. I just want to
So it
make sure
just
that was what I
goes-
remembered.
Yep.
Okay, all right. I
Sure.
just remembered that correctly. And so then, heading back down that section, unapplied cash bill payment expense.
That was that same one from
667.
last month,
Okay.
and we dug into what it is, why it's showing up. I have no idea.
Okay,
Roger and
So-
I were gonna try to dig into that and see if we could peel it
Okay.
apart, and we just haven't been able to meet yet.
okay,
But that is the same number from
Yeah.
last month that we were asking about.
yeah.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure that they are the same and that we're not.
Nothing grew.
getting new- Yeah, we're not,
Nothing grew there.
we're not getting, I don't have last month's thing right in front of
No.
me, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hope
Nope.
better to ask questions and
Yes.
get the answer I expect. All right.
Oh, what are we doing about, money for programming the rest of the year?
So I was able to I looked into it a little bit and I was able to shift some money around. So we now have 698.57 left in the programming budget
Till July.
until July. So last year at this time we were in a position to pay things in advance, and this year we're not. So we'll deal with it as it comes, but I think like almost $700 is probably enough to get us through till the beginning of.
So that being
July.
said, you have a lot more programs this year than last year too, don't you?
We've had a lot more programs.
Can I ask what we budgeted for programming for next year, and is it gonna be
The
enough?
same.
The same, so
Yeah,
not
that one
enough.
stays flat.
We're gonna have to be a little more resourceful this year for programming. I think we did do some things like we actually spent twice as much money on Santa's books as normal because the shipment that we ordered came in the day of the program, the box of books. And so that morning we panicked and I went to Bartleby's and I bought books at Bartleby's that morning because we didn't think we were going to have enough
So
for
then did you
everything.
return the other box?
We did
of books?
not return the other box of books because because they were cheaper, and B, we have used them for other things now. So we're going to be using them for summer reading prizes. We're going to be using them for other programs. So we're going to use them, but it's kind of like we just pre-bought some of that stuff instead of the ones we used mostly the ones from the box that we got from Books by the Bushel. So the ones that we have are the Bartleby's books, which are nicer than the ones from Books by the Bushel. So because Books by the Bushel, you buy like 10 copies of this book and 10 copies of that book. So, one kid might we bought them for trunk or treat, and then we bought books for Santa like some of them might get the same book twice because they all just go into the same pool. But with the Bartleby's books, they're nicer. So we can use those for summer reading prizes. So that'll be an expense we don't have in August.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been very pro programs,
Yeah.
so I'm, maybe when we look at the budget coming up, we a little bit more in there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's
agree.
important to bring people into the library. It's just another whole thing that we offer and,
Mhm.
but I guess until then, we have to cut back on
Yeah.
some of the programs that we offer.
I mean, I don't think we have to cut back. We just look at the way. So one of the things that I've done is that I'm not doing craft night every month because craft night costs like $100, with all the supplies and everything that you need to buy
Mhm.
for one craft night. And then I try to use all of that up so I can, go to Butterfield and use some of the stuff there and then try to use it for a different program, but it ends up being expensive. So I'm not doing it every month anymore. I'm doing it every other month instead. In my report, I wrote that we're doing that book club kit swapping
Mhm.
site.
Mm.
That's $60 a year, which is way cheaper than buying 6 puzzles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's gonna save us money for that. So, I'm trying to figure out, I've been here for a year and a half now about, and it's kind of starting to feel like what the town is more into than other things. So I think we're gonna become better focused this summer about stuff too than we were last year. Last year was new for all
Yeah.
of us.
Kind of on a random but side part of that, have you looked into the summer, the dessert social or?
We've talked about it, actually. We've already started talking about it. So, yeah, that is something that we're gonna have to start planning. We're gonna try to make sure that it is, things that we've talked about is, we might move it to a different day of the week because if um, it's we want to do it during Blueberry Festival again, for sure. So Blueberry Festival, they have something scheduled like every night. We want to be on a night where there's not anything else. So, like last year, we were on the same night as the comedy show. They weren't at the same time, but we didn't want to necessarily ruin the audience that we got. So if we can move it, if it's Wednesday night instead of Thursday night, is there nothing on Wednesday night? Will that help us with our audience? Yeah, but we sat down, we debriefed after it last year, got a really good idea of like things that we could change and things we could make better. And this year we think we're on par to do. We're going to definitely be doing music instead of a speaker this year too. I guess, oh my God, it's March. I should reach out to the band and see if they're still interested in doing it. So I had spoke to Erica Reynolds to see if they would be interested in doing it, and they were booked last year, but they said absolutely we'll do it next year. Just let us know ahead of time. So I will reach out to her again. I think I think everybody in town pretty much loves them. So yeah, they're fun. Speaker's it's not the vibe we're going for. The speaker was great and we want to do more speakers and stuff, but it wasn't the vibe for dessert social.
Right.
When I
Maybe
think
we could
social,
have
I think fun.
Maybe we could do a speaker that too, or something.
Yeah.
Like during the day even.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely.
Even if it's just here in the library.
Yeah, or outside.
Yeah.
In the lovely outdoor space that we're going to create this summer.
I don't have any other questions. I found the email you had sent out referring to the info from the,
Okay.
yeah. I was like, I was saying earlier, I keep trying to search under Carol and I forget that I have to search for bookkeeper. So I found it. All right. So I don't have any further questions because I can see here the reconciliations discrepancy, which was the other question I had. You addressed. So,
Right, so we're good on that. We'll move on to- Agenda up again. Back and forth between documents. Old business, policy review.
Do we want to have Kendra come in now or?
yeah, let's have her do her
Okay.
little,
All right.
her song and dance.
Let's go through the youth librarian. Yeah,
And.
Snow is leaving and everything's going great. Still trucking along with Library Explorers Club. We're doing them in the 6-week sessions, which seems to be working good for me mentally. Just to kind of have something new to like put out new graphics every 6 weeks. In terms of advertising is really all it is. And then Bear's doing good. We have all of the remaining sessions of Bear are completely full and have at least a kid on the wait list. Yay. We got to try out our new Venture Society role-playing game. It was fun. I gotta keep doing it. I gotta get better at it. And like, I know Steffi will play again. I know Wyatt wants to play again. Some of the other kids were not really that hooked on it. That's okay. I'm gonna try it out with like 5th grade when they come to visit because it's designed to be a very short game, so you don't lose them. And then we had our build day with Bear. We did leprechaun traps, and just because that one's kind of more chaotic by nature, we just let every kid who was there participate. We didn't gatekeep the leprechaun traps. And we had a Valentine's Day party, which was great. I very clearly stated it was an RSVP event. We had 10 kids RSVP and 9 adults. That's what we planned for. We had 20 kids show up with 18 adults.
Wow.
So
It was.
we tap danced. We stretched the pizza. We,
Can't believe that might be.
yeah, she wasn't prepared for it. But we made it work.
I was the pizza, not.
Literally, Alice and Allison
Place
were
for
here.
kid.
Allison were here, so I was able to like make more of the crafts and stuff like that. And then we did our winter break programs. We had to look at it's right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
High tech.
So we did we have plans for Wild Robot, which if you're not familiar is a fabulous book that was made into a movie, which isn't as good as the book, but that's fine. It happens. And so I had a snack thing for before the movie, and then we would watch the movie. It was like the Monday movie, and then I had like bags of stuff that they could take with them. And then the power went out. So it didn't happen. So we pushed it to April vacation. And then we had our tea party, which was great. We had 15 kids come to that and 8 adults, and some of them were visitors to the valley, which was kind of fun. They thought it was lovely and fantastic. And then we had our annual stuffy sleepover. I have the book.
Oh,
cute. So not every kid that had a stuffy sleepover actually came to the drop off and pickup. So it's kind of hard to figure out like what the numbers really were. Because we had the drop off time, And then we had some kids who were like, I can't make it, but I want my family to sleep over. So they just came at a different time, and because they fill out a whole form so that I know what kind of shenanigans they're going to get into. And then like some of our Library Explorer kids just brought them to the Library Explorer meeting that happened the week before. And then theirs just kind of stayed for a while. But that was so fun. And then we didn't end up having a Toy Story movie the next day, which was my new twist on it, because it was just like a very unusually busy for the adults too. Like there was just like a lot of people coming in using the space. And so there was people who needed to work. So like I was like, you can absolutely use this space, completely forgetting that I was planning to show a movie. So they were in here working, but then all the kids were just like doing their thing. And the only kids that really came specifically for the movie, the mom was like, yeah, like they're not really interested in it. And so I was like, I can get out another, because the kids play with Legos, I can get another bit of Legos. And he was like, yeah. So they just stayed and played Legos. So then that was didn't cause any. And then we had family yoga, which was super fun. And we had a lot of people come to that. And Jenna was able to be here to lead the yoga and be very interactive. And then we also did show the cosmic yoga with our backup plan. We showed that. And kids did not actually like that as much as working with Jenna. So we're gonna see if when the weather gets nicer and the nights are longer, maybe doing like a evening family yoga, maybe like once a month or something, so that the kids can come,
Yeah.
It's nice. I not so well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Participated in the program.
Yeah.
And then my surprise Valentine book display was just a success. I don't know how many of them read their books, but they all enjoyed checking them out and getting their candy. We started our March gold coin raffle, and I know the last one I hadn't quite figured out how I was going to make it like start to creep towards like gotta read the book. So there's not quite as many gold coins hidden, and they're hidden over the fiction and the early chapter, so they're spread out a little more. But if you can't find a gold coin, you can always get an entry by just checking out a book and then doing a little book review. So that is kind of like the alternative. So you can you don't have to sit there and tear apart the bookshelves to find the gold coin. You still do. And
That's the best part.
but it's good because I feel like they're still at that age where like a book cover can really grab their attention that like they wouldn't have otherwise grabbed. So pulling the books off and looking at them is still valid, still a good thing. And Dover school visits are chugging along. They're coming back on St. Patrick's Day. I'm gonna try and stem the chaos by not doing anything leprechaun related on that day. We're gonna do the Venture Society game, and then we're gonna start talking about the storybook coop that's starting in April. It's really up in the air whether or not Dover School's gonna have a summer camp this year. The funding just might not be there. So yes, exactly. And last year I had worked with the summer camp kids, like by going there and doing stuff for our story walk and stuff. So if it exists, I want to keep going with that and doing that. But if it doesn't exist, and I also planned a lot of Annabelle's. I planned a lot of things corresponding like I like pick up over there was like 3. So like we would do our program at like 3:30. And so that really I think helped. A lot of people one family would grab several kids from over there and then they would just come here and do the program until the other parents were available. That was really good and it was a great system and it might be impacted by whether or not there's a camp because the kids are having to go all the way to Wings. It's gonna be like when middle schoolers leave us and then they're like, man, I don't have time to do things in Dover. So keeping my eye on. And then I started working on all the summer reading stuff. Just, looking at the feedback from last year. We're gonna do a very similar format to what we did last year. But I think the biggest change is that the youngest kids are gonna track minutes just like the older kids. And then obviously changing everything to kind of be more themed with Color Our World, which is fabulous.
Can I ask a question? It says 0 to 13 and then teen young adult, but that's like they still have the choice of doing which
Yes.
program, right?
So the teen young adult is rising 7th grade and up. So if you're going into 7th grade and you're 12, you get to choose. You get to be either the
0 to 13.
0 to 13 one, which is more like a lot more involved, a lot more like reading more. The more you read, the more chances you get to win the prizes. And then the teen one was the bingo last year. And then this year I have scaled it back slightly. Might have been slightly overwhelming for some people. So it's 2 like challenges, check out a past, check out a library of things thing. And then because it's Color Our World, it's just 6 books. Tells what you read. You have to gotten it through the Dover Library. So whether it's interlibrary loan, our collections, our digital collections, our audiobook collections, and then how it relates to whatever one of the colors. There's 6 colors. So like, is the color red? Did the main character's favorite team was the Minnesota Vikings, so it's purple. Like I don't really, whatever you want. Just read 6 books, please, and turn the log in. Not really too many hoops to jump through there. And then I got April vacation coming up. I want to bring back Work It Out Wombat. It's not going to be as intensive as a program as it was during the research study, but I still want to bring it back. And then I got the Thurber Coop happening next month. I think that's most of what's going on. There's probably other things happening that I'm doing that I'm not really.
Coop isn't the chicken.
It's a chicken.
Chicken.
Catching of the chicken.
Very good.
All excited about that. Baby cheeky.
So those are all my things. And I think it feels like I'm missing things, but I don't think I am. I think it's just because summer reading stuff. There's a lot of summer reading stuff happening in my brain. That isn't like firmed up yet. So
Do you want paper tubes from John I sent you an email, but
yes, I actually ended up donating those all to Laura, who is doing a laughter program with
Oh, the tubes?
instructions. The
Yeah.
tubes, yeah.
We made
So I have found that they, no matter how well I hide them, they are discovered and used as weapons. Despite my best efforts. There's
Maybe
one
the
kicking around
new
here.
ones
There's
weren't.
one left
It's
and
been,
it's hidden.
it's been confiscated
Oh my
from my
God.
child.
He took it from my child.
She decorated it
Yeah.
intensely and then it had to be put away.
I had grand ideas, but no matter what I do with them, they become weapons.
we made them into rain sticks and we made them into little what do you call them? Kaleidoscopes. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
think the school would want more of them?
Sure. I mean, you can literally cut them up and make them into 100 different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
so go on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
yeah, I
Great.
never heard anything from any teens that want to help.
No teen helpers.
No teen, no one ever responded. But during April vacation, I still have some boba tea stuff left from the last time we did boba tea, so I am gonna do a boba tea thing in April vacation. Which interested some teens last year. See if we can get them to come to it.
No.
Yeah.
Some recruitment
Just don't
back.
have any time.
I can't blame them. They're traveling very far to get to school every day, and then
Mhm.
they don't spend a lot of time here in Dover.
Maybe the
As
red
we're
is if I had said in the past, if there was any way of having like a bus stop here
Yeah,
instead of just at the fire department and at the school, there's gonna be a stop here, but that's it's an idea.
yeah. It'll be interesting. I don't know if you follow the school board meetings at all, but they're talking about contracting with our bus routes anyway. So it wouldn't be like Dave driving anymore. So that might be a time to.
At a bus stop.
Yeah. Or switch it. So, and keep listening along and hear what happens with that. Spy years on. So. that's all.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Wrong.
Librarian report. No,
Get
go
through.
to old business and policy review.
Alrighty. It's time for me to tap dance. So I sent out, my draft of the privacy and confidentiality policy. It is modeled on ALA recommendations and, still some stuff from my friends at Seattle Public Library. So,
So I like all of it. The only thing that I started to question was third-party partners.
mhm.
Is with third-party partners, what information is being shared? If a third-party partner asks, like, are you sharing?
We, so right now, the only information that any third party partners get from us are people's names and library barcode numbers.
Okay,
And those are, just because we need to be able to check them, validate their,
and that's kind of stuff like the
like the
Hoopla.
Hoopla.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would maybe, I mean, I would just add maybe a clarification of like just like example. Hoopla.
Yeah.
Because I can
Well-
totally see someone like, you know, my dad reading that and being like, third party partner, I'm never going to this library ever. And being like, Dad, you join the library, you get access
Yeah.
to this. But that way, knowing what that third party partners refers to.
So that's why that last sentence is in there, to read
Yeah.
and become familiar with the privacy policies of the third party partners, because I don't know exactly,
Yeah.
like
Well,
they,
not necessarily saying like what their privacy policies
Yeah.
are, but just saying, you know, a third party partner, for example.
yeah.
So they're not thinking like, oh, you have like some person coming in here with like an MLM
Oh,
partner. You know what I'm saying?
oh, examples of third party partners are
Yeah,
Hoopla.
yeah. So
Okay.
just as a clarification that it is a
Okay.
third party.
Yeah.
Third
because
party
otherwise,
partner.
what is it? People
Yeah.
don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, we do have an older population here in Dover, and I know that that's going to be
If there's some way you
Question.
could word it without saying this is not include, this is not a full
Yeah.
list of everything we have, but examples are,
Yeah.
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 That way, there's just, I just don't want
It's a
some.
nice little addition.
Yeah, I just don't want someone coming in and like Ellis is up front and they're like, what is this? And we're like, you get it. for-
Honestly, I wasn't
free.
sure either, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, so I'm like.
Yeah.
oh, but I think that's
Okay. What I just wrote down here, third party partners include but are not limited to.
Blah. Yeah.
Okay. Hoopla Gale. Yeah, I can do that.
Blackstone.
Yeah.
I can add that.
Under what conditions would a parent or legal guardian of somebody under the age of 12 have access to the child's borrowing record?
Under any,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
if Coral takes something out, you can be like, what does Coral have out? I don't know. She's got 14 books in her. And-
Happens to Sebby, bring it.
Yeah. It happens with me. I'm like, what does Emery have out? Why am I getting an email about her stuff?
Yeah.
And yeah.
I know
So,
she does have something out that she got out at the last school thing.
yeah,
It's literally been sitting in her house and.
that's okay. The school
Yeah.
things go,
Yeah.
we're not hunting for them.
Yeah.
We know they'll come back the next month. There are some kids who had stuff all summer long from their last school visit.
That.
So that was fun. But this year we have to remember.
You know, that happened to me when I was a kid once.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of may have access to their child's borrowing record,
Just have
can
access.
request access.
I think if we just say the parents of legal guardians or patrons under the age of 12 have access to their child's birth.
Okay,
And just remove the may.
I just erased the may.
done. All right. Now, real quick about, says use of library computers and online sites. I have not used the computers here. Do you need to log in with your?
Library card number?
Yeah.
No,
Stop on.
you just, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we don't track it at all. In fact, I'm actually going to be removing the sign-in sheet from over there too, because A, nobody ever uses it, and B, the kids color on
Yeah.
it more often than anything else. And C, like, nobody needs to know,
Yeah,
you know, that Joe Smith was here. So, it's just gonna go.
okay.
It's just gonna go away. There's no accountability that needs to be had.
I think those were the only
These
questions.
look
I
very
had.
good to that.
Okay. Oops. Oh, now everybody's looking at it. I can't do anything.
That's how it works.
Perfect, yeah. That was the only thing I had with that policy that looked. Everything else looked good.
It's pretty straightforward and
Yeah.
well written.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Seattle.
I did rewrite it. We've got two places where I didn't hyphenate. Oh, that's not right.
You like it?
Oh, yeah, excellent. Yes. Sorry.
It's not good. Looks like you got a lot on your mind.
Do we need to make a motion to approve it or just?
Can we approve it with the adjustment that you're?
Yeah, I already
Yeah.
made it.
So,
Yeah, great.
So,
add it on
yeah.
there, so. I'll make a motion to approve the
Privacy and confidentiality.
confidentiality policy that Allison wrote and edited.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passes unanimously. That is it for policy review. All right. Next up, new business. Politics and library programs. This was something that was brought to my attention that there may be patrons who don't quite feel comfortable with people talking politics and programs. And especially if there's like a few people who are on one side of politics and one or two people who are on the other side, and they don't feel comfortable speaking up during, that they might feel like pushed out of the programs because these politics are being brought up at programs.
So I am familiar with the issue as well. And I've spoken to the person who has the issue. What I will say is that our programs are not necessarily political in any
Yeah.
way, shape, or
They're
form.
definitely not geared towards a certain
No. So if during a program, patrons, people attending the program, just start to discuss politics, there is nothing that even legally we can do about it. It's
Yeah.
a public building.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It's free speech, right?
It's
Yeah.
like literally,
part of the law of the land.
Yeah.
Could it be
In the Bill of
encouraged
Rights.
for people to maybe stick with the topic of what the
So
program is about?
in this specific program where there was an issue, there were no library staff members attending. And so, and it's a very, self-regulating group. They decide what they're meeting about, they decide what they're talking about. It's not like the library is any part of any of that decision-making for
So
the
is it
most
more
part.
like they're using the library space to do their program rather than it being a library program?
It's a library program, but they are self-determined. They choose their own topics.
And are we providing any funding for their program?
We provide the materials, we provide the books. It's not a political, it's book club.
Okay,
It's book club. So
okay.
we provide books. The books are not political books or novels usually.
I mean, anything can lead to.
Anything, yeah,
conversation,
we could
but
have, we could break off into a political
My
discussion, right?
guess is it didn't have anything to do with the book at all, though. It's
No,
just a
it had-
certain comfort level that people have with each other that leads to it, which I find it interesting. It's not going to change or go away. I actually did reach out to Kevin Unrath. I have not heard back from him
Mhm.
because I'm just curious what the state library recommends in these situations, because it is our number one goal to make sure that everyone feels welcome and comfortable here at
Yeah.
this library. And I do believe everyone has freedom of speech, but I also think it's really important for us to encourage people to, if it's a puzzle night, stick with the puzzles, to not go off on this tangent because you feel so comfortable with everyone around you to make someone else feel isolated. It's the last thing we want at this library.
Yes,
So
and
I don't know the
we are
answer.
welcoming of everybody's opinion, but that's, that's the hiccup in free speech. When you have free speech, you can say, I could say whatever I wanted to right now in this meeting, and theoretically, I could not be, charged with anything
Yeah.
except for, there are certain things. But yeah, I'm not going to yell fire or anything. But in that situation, what I would say is if you are uncomfortable with the conversation that is going on around you, it is your responsibility to change it, to
Yeah.
speak
So
up.
what if you do
So-
and it just keeps happening again and again? So then your
If you
only
say-
choice is to not come to the program.
Well,
That's
that's the
disappointing
choice.
to me.
I'm sorry, but it's a choice, and I cannot be in every room in every situation.
Yeah.
To
Someone
police
else's
every
discomfort is
conversation.
not our responsibility. If someone else is uncomfortable with the situation, it is their responsibility to find a way to become comfortable in it. It should not, it's similar to like, just to take from my own, examples in my job and helping with birth and everything like that. It is not my responsibility to make my patients feel comfortable when we have a hard decision. It is I have to present the facts, I have to present what's going on. And it might make, it's an uncomfortable conversation. It's one that we don't want to have, but it's their opportunity to react to that conversation and the way they see fit. It is not my job to give them a reaction and to give them what they need. No, if a conversation comes up, their reaction is what's their responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
I think we have to be really careful about policing, right? Like people
Yeah.
say plenty of things to me here that I very much disagree with and not comfortable with at all. However,
It's me too, my job.
yeah, I'm sure. It just sometimes they just kind of smile and laugh and say like, okay, thanks, have a nice day. But that's my responsibility for my reaction. I could very well say like, I'm sorry, I don't agree with you, but that's on me. That's not on them. And if somebody feels like I'm perfectly happy that this place feels like a place where you can sit down with friends and discuss anything that you want to discuss. And, if you wanted to sit down, if Laura decided she wanted to sit down and have a conversation about why it's great being a Nazi, I would be like, oh, absolutely. Sorry, Laura. I would absolutely say like, yes, that's okay in library space because you have the freedom of speech to do that. Like that is your right to do
Yeah.
that. We just signed a policy. We just
Yep.
you know, that the first line is the Dover Free Library protects the confidentiality of patron information as part of its commitment to free speech, free thought, and free association. So I think if we're going to say we are committed to free thought, free speech, and free association, then we have to stand by it.
Yeah.
And then I would be perfectly happy to be in a room and say like, let's make sure that we're not alienating somebody with the conversation we have. But I'm not going to sit there and say, you can't have this conversation in the library. I've heard plenty of conversations that made me
Yeah.
super uncomfortable. And
So I mean, I think
At an event that you were at, that was a library
at
event,
a library event that I like here in, you know,
not
in
just,
this-
not just being here, but at
Yeah.
a program that you ran or were at, you know.
you know, and I could feel insulted. I could feel, you know, anger about it, but it's their right to say whatever they want to say. So,
I just think we just need to make a point that if, you know, I'm not privy to what happened in this situation, but that if it comes up again, to make a point of saying, you know, we can't stifle free speech. I understand that this made you uncomfortable, but you also have the ability to talk back and make this a situation that is, you know, that you can either make comfortable or you have the ability as a human being to get up, walk away, take a couple breaths and come back.
I think it's also important that this is a safe place to
Yeah.
say, I'm uncomfortable with
Yeah.
this situation and know that the other people in the room are going to respect you for that
Yeah.
too. You know, I have respect for anybody's opinion here. It's not, you know, it might not be my opinion, but it's going to be, if it's your opinion, I have respect for you as a fellow human being. So I think I feel awful that that person felt uncomfortable in this room. But yeah, my husband and I once went to couples therapy and the therapist said like, it's not, you don't cause your partner to react in a certain way.
Mhm.
Like you do
Yeah.
something and it's your action. Their reaction is their responsibility.
Yes.
And
that's what
so,
I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think you know, I'm happy to have everybody come in here. You know, all groups welcome. Yes, we are family. I will embrace everyone in town for sure. But I'm not going to be the speech police. And I know as just asked if I wanted him to attend because he also wanted to share the same sentiment. And I think Kendra agrees as well. So that's just not our position.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be a
Well,
position.
it's a discussion, yeah.
So should somebody reach out to the person to communicate this to them? Like this is how our stance on the matter? Has the person been talked to already?
I've talked to the person already, and she made a decision for herself, and
Okay.
that was her decision. And I've spoken to her about it, and I've expressed that I was sorry that she felt that way, but that was her choice.
I think that's all you can do.
Yep. That's
Not to disagree, I do agree
Fair
with your
enough.
stance on it. Just a point of perspective on it. There's a difference between daily wandering through and a focused program, just in my mind.
Mhm.
So if you have like your arts and craft night and it becomes politically charged, you're gonna start losing patrons to that and the program suffers. I would only be cautious that we don't cross into that line of it. Not saying
Yeah.
that everything needs to be policed, but just even if it's not something, excuse me, that you're attending every time, like the book club you said kind of
Mhm.
self-regulates,
Yeah,
but it wouldn't hurt to like be like, hey, just,
Stay on
you
track.
know, yeah, not that you can't talk about other things, but try to stay more focused on the book. And that's
Mhm.
why people are at the program, is because they want to discuss the books and stuff. And when it gets political, things get so polarized so
Mhm.
quickly. You don't want to start alienating either side.
so I think it was like a one-off time, because I
Okay.
usually do attend the book club
Okay.
meetings. Ellis was out that day and I was on the desk and I hated the book. So I didn't want to talk about it.
Well, the mouse is, or the cat's away.
Yeah, so I was over at the desk and I wasn't privy to any of the conversation. But in my experience, I don't think they have been very political discussions, because I mean, I guess anything can tie back to politics, right? Like,
Unfortunately, I think it had been several times and had been asked, like, let's keep it focused on the book, and it didn't.
okay,
That's what
Yeah.
my understanding is, and that's the part that gets me a little, like, if I came to knitting or puzzle and it just turned into a political rant, either direction, I think I'd be seeing my way out of that program, because I don't want that here.
yeah.
You know,
Which just hurts our program.
Is the
in the long
book
run.
itself
Yes.
politic, like, is this?
It was strangers on a train. It was about two guys who kill each other's, like one guy kills the other guy's parents and the other guy kills his girlfriend or whatever. Like it's
Not a
That sounds like
political
a great
story.
Hollywood movie. I'm just-
It
It's
is.
just
It is. It is.
interesting.
It's
I
a
don't
classic.
really know what the answer is. I mean, you're saying what your plan is and what
Yeah.
everyone feels.
I mean,
I haven't heard back from Kevin Unrath yet.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to hear what he has to say, because I think politically things are very charged right now, and
Mhm.
it's hard. You know, and I know how I feel, but then sometimes I think, well, you know, if I came to this group and everybody was just speaking about how wonderful this person was, that, and I don't agree with it, and I asked them to not talk about that. And then the next time we came and they felt real comfortable and they talking about how great that person is, I probably would stop coming.
Mhm.
And I don't want to see that. So I just think if there's some way we could just say, you know, you have total freedom of speech. You can talk about whatever you want, but please have some consideration to keep everyone here and focused on the topic,
Mhm.
puzzles, knitting, the book. Or if it is a political book, you know, then yes, it lends to that conversation. But I don't know, you know, I don't know the answer, but you have your answer. Let's just watch it, you know,
Yeah.
just be aware of it,
Yeah.
be aware of our own words and actions, I think, in
Yeah.
general. You know, as like you, when I'm at work, if someone wants to engage in political conversation at one table, I will not, because the next table feels a different way.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Yeah.
not the right space for it, you know.
Mhm.
Library is tricky because, like, it is about freedom of speech, but it's also about everyone being welcome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, guess we'll
And I think
stay
just maybe
aware.
keep an eye on it, and I mean, I know in this particular event, you weren't unable to attend. Is there usually somebody who's?
So it's self-regulating.
Yeah.
So like one person is usually, they like, it's a very democratic society.
Yeah.
They take turns choosing books. Everybody gets a vote on the book that gets chosen. So it is very like of the people.
Yeah.
But they, every month is a different genre. The person who ends up being the chooser for the month is the person who generally kind of leads the
Mhm.
discussion
Mhm.
about it. So,
I mean, I think that maybe it's something important just to note to whoever is that chooser, whoever's going to be
Yeah.
leading the discussion. Hey, just so you know, we've had some mentions about this. We're all about free speech. just
Yeah,
keep an
no, I absolutely
yeah.
don't mind talking
Yeah.
to them either as a group and saying, like, let's try to keep it inclusive.
Yeah,
But, yeah, but I'm not gonna sit in here and say like,
yeah,
Sally
No.
says like, oh,
Yeah.
I hate this. I'm
I
like,
don't think
yeah.
anybody's would be looking for you to
Yeah.
police it like that.
Yeah.
Just
I'm happy
try
to,
to stay on topic so that you can, I mean, if you're coming to a program, it's because you enjoy that, that thing, that book, that whatever. Like you
Yeah.
said, you
Yeah.
cycle in and out by whether or not you like the book even. So if you're loving the book, but you feel, unwelcome because of
Yeah.
the discussion, yeah, leaves a
It's
sour
safe.
taste.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't think anybody'd be looking for you to be like, sit there with a ruler.
Yeah.
Crack the knuckles.
Oh, there are sometimes when I wish I could.
Nope.
I mean, I think just, if we're all just aware of it. Since,
Yeah, so. Okay, do we feel comfortable with where things are at now for the moment? To just kind of
keep an eye on it.
basically observe and just
Yeah.
if anything.
Yeah.
Goes a little too far, maybe that'll be addressed. All right. Then we can move on to town meeting review, which, budget was approved. That was zero pushback. We started off by explaining the top three items were 75% of the increase. I think that helped people understand where we're at with the budget. And Allison spoke a little bit as well about some, there was like one question that somebody had.
So, yeah, somebody asked about,
The
the health insurance, why the health insurance was so expensive.
Mhm.
And
And she.
I don't know if I said,
Yes, we'll
She
try.
clarified that we are aligned with the town on that.
yeah, I don't know if I was snarky when I said there were a series of meetings about this. But, and then I pointed out that the town employees took a 5% cost of living raise this year. We only did,
Wasn't the police got like 10%,
yeah,
which is,
yeah.
Jesus.
yeah,
So
Were they below?
it's to remain.
No. the town of Dover, so I worked for Wilmington for like, for 10 years. And every time I go to a budget meeting, somehow I'd be there with the police chief. And every year it was like, well, Dover raised it last year by 5%. So we have to raise ours again so we can remain competitive with Dover. And then, like, and I'm sure Dover needs to raise it to be competitive with other, bigger cities and towns and whatever. But it's so funny how it trickles down, like everybody's got to try to stay competitive.
I will say, I do like our police force are pretty chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that.
So it's very different than Wilmington, for sure.
I heard very positive things. from
Yeah.
People about your speaking at the town meeting. They're very happy to hear like where the money's going.
Yeah.
How's it going? And things are looking good, really positive.
Yeah. That was really nice, Pat.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Was happy with how it turned out.
that's great.
And it's
That's like-
great when you have great numbers to put into
Yeah.
it too. Like,
Very.
Yeah, that was really
That's
cute.
a good opportunity to share information about the library and remind people to come and learn
Yeah.
what we offer. It's great. Love it.
Anyone have any other questions about town meeting? All right, I think we're ready to move on to the director's report.
Jazzy hands.
You know, we're inner Kendra.
My inner Kendra is exhausted by the actual Kendra. So I did do something where I was with a large number of children. I'm like, what would Kendra do? What would Kendra do? Do what Kendra would do. So everything is pretty much the status quo. February is a short month and it seemed like a very busy month. Well, with getting ready for town meeting and all of that fun stuff and having 20 kids come for a Valentine's Day party and be sugared up and crazy.
Mhm.
Um,
And do a little copy.
We were gonna go and we all got sick with that stomach bug.
Yes.
And I was like, was like, come on, let's rally together. And then Coral stood up and threw up and I was like, no, we're not. No one's rallying.
Thank you. No, we haven't had anybody throw up at a kids program since Santa last year. So,
Oh, good. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, knock on wood for that.
2023 Santa was the last vomiting at a party. So I did my annual attendance of the Big Talk for Small Libraries conference, which is virtual and free. It's 10 to 6 o'clock in front of a computer with no breaks. So, yeah, I watched it at my parents' house in New Jersey, because I had to be down there for the weekend. And literally just started walking around the house with the laptop in my hand, my body a little bit. So there were a lot of them sounded like they were going to be fantastic. Navigating partnerships, the small libraries, big, bless you,
Thank you.
big economic, environmental, and equity impacts. That was given by 2 Vermont state librarians. Bless you.
Thank you.
The woman who is the director of the Charlotte Library and another woman who I don't remember. But Margaret Woodruff, who is the director of the Charlotte Library, she is also the one who is responsible for the Sustainable Libraries Initiative coming to Vermont and supporting libraries. When I was at Petty, we joined with the first cohort of libraries who were trying to get to be sustainably certified. I was about halfway there when I left. It's kind of like a multi-year process. There are many different things that you have to hit to become a sustainable library. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if here we would qualify ever to become a sustainable library, just given the fact that we share the building and the town owns it, and there's a lot of stuff that we probably can't change to become certified. I would be interested in looking into it, but not this year. This
You
is
got a lot
like
on your plate.
a few years down the road sort of thing. I think we might be interested. But one library in Vermont has become certified. So that's very exciting. I have not heard of any new cohorts happening anytime soon. Anyway, so but that was really interesting because I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of the Charlotte Library, but they have gorgeous gardens and landscaping. And so they also have a pretty healthy budget. So they were able to build in like these rain gardens so that they could mitigate some of the runoff from their building into a beautiful thing. And they have pollinator gardens and, solar panels.
Oh, wow.
All like lots of libraries in the state now have solar panels, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
BP was doing a thing for a while where they were funding, I think it was BP, was funding solar panels for public buildings. So that I just loved hearing some of their things that they talked about were, a pollinator pathway they had.
Yeah, I'm on their website right now. Oh, neat stuff.
And they talked about becoming a cooling center too, which is very important now because now Vermont is hot in the summer. So, and none of us are ready for that. We're all very cold-blooded people. So I took a lot out of that one. The navigating partnerships one was something that I've actually seen already at a different conference. But it was a nice, to hear again. They reminded me that it's okay to be messy and complicated and afraid and show up anyway. So, and there was also a talk about something called Postage Pals, which is not necessarily even about mailing letters, but a library was working with the senior center and the elementary school, and they were getting the kids to write letters to the senior center. And then the seniors were writing letters back. So they became like pen pals.
That's really cute.
Yeah. was like, that is something that I think we could probably implement. And we also heard from the best small library in America. Again, it wasn't us. Um, I laugh at how like, oh, we're the best small library in America. We only have 10 people on staff here. Like, we only serve a population of 10,000 people. I'm like, oh, is that all? So we already talked about town meeting. I put in my application for the NELS Tier 2 Leadership Symposium. Haven't heard anything back. They actually had extended the deadline, so the application window just closed on Friday. So I haven't heard anything back yet about that. And then, like I said earlier, I joined the Vermont Kit Club so that we can get sets of books and puzzles for cheaper than normal. In programming territory, we're starting, like Kendra, I'm starting to think about summer reading program.
Oh, that's fun. You're gonna do like Color World, but focus on gardening.
Yeah, like color your world outside. So, doing lots of stuff outside. I signed up to be a part of this is something I did when I was at Petty, Slow Food USA. They give a library seeds, and it's not seed sharing, it's to grow on at the library. So, at Petty, we had 2 big raised beds that my husband actually made. They were like 6 by, I don't know, maybe 8 by 4 or something like that, some round number. And so they give you 6 different packets of seeds. I can bring it up on this screen, but they are all like really cool varieties that you don't see very often, and they all have little stories behind them, which I love. So let's see if it'll load up here. So yeah, we actually, ground cherries were included 1 year before.
Ground cherry.
Yes. So, like you see like the little
Yeah.
orange balls at the store, those are
Yeah.
ground cherries. I would recommend, if anybody, so the idea is that you can share the seeds after the season is over too, and you share the produce with your community. Ground cherries are super invasive. So it's super, like, I didn't think about it, and I took all of the stuff out of the garden at the end of the year that we planted these, and I brought all of the compost home to my compost and threw it in. And the next year I had ground cherries in my garden. I don't want them there. I don't like them. Lots of other people do, but they will go everywhere all the time. Beaver dam pepper, Boothby's cucumber, a rattlesnake watermelon. Yes. Pimento.
Cool.
Yeah, so there are things like, I would never go to the store and buy a package of pimento seeds, but it's just people can experience new flavors and stuff here at the library. So our plan is to try to create yet another container garden. But we're going to ask people to donate containers. They don't have to be like the traditional, flower planters. Do like, old horse troughs or whatever we can get and plant them there so that we don't have ground cherries everywhere. B, so that we don't get in the way of mowing, really.
So you don't want to do it on the side yard.
I think we would put the containers probably near the fence line so that it's easiest for David.
Excellent.
I don't want to make any of the town guys mad at us, so we value their their hard work.
Don't mean make it harder.
Yeah, so it, try to keep it as easy for everybody as possible. Yeah, so, definitely probably looking for volunteers to help out with that when it's time. I am going to do some programming around that too. I have a friend who's a master gardener who does talks about container gardening. So hopefully I can have her come and do a talk here about that.
I'll
Yeah.
volunteer my mother-in-law to come help you.
Awesome. She would be great.
Obsessed.
Oh, perfect. We could definitely use help, because otherwise it's just me on like a Saturday afternoon. So, yeah, doing some, I think Kendra's gonna chip in and do some programming with the kids and like planting the seeds here. I've got a million of those seedling trays at home. So haul them in and fill them with dirt and hopefully we'll get seeds started. Let's see, what else? Over Book Club, we'll be meeting this Friday, to talk about Midnight Feast. In May, we'll be talking about next year in Havana. I chose this especially because it was available on Blackstone Unlimited. So trying to force Blackstone usage.
It's a
I-
little low.
Yes, yeah. I did get an email from Joe Levy from Blackstone, or their like marketing email I got, I believe this morning. Oh, one thing, the social did cancel Silent Book Club for tonight, because the woman who works there is sick. So we will not have Silent Book Club tonight.
We let people know.
I will be posting something about it, but I just found out about 10:30 this morning. So, I thought I kept it so that I could see it right away.
You probably did.
Blackstone. Yeah, I talked to Joe, I emailed him after our meeting last month and they have, they did update the app.
I didn't see an update. I've been checking.
They put, uh, yeah, so this is the email that I got in February about the upgrade to the app. And with the upgrade, they also put out new books. They did also just today send me an email about
Well,
new,
February 25th. I guess it was an update.
yeah, maybe I deleted it by accident or something. But I swear I got an email this morning and I was like, gotta look at that. Usually I don't read them so that I can keep them fresh and at the top of the inbox. But I will keep looking. I can send that out to everybody, but I did notice that there were some new stuff. There were some new things, when I went to look for.
It's not automatically renewed, is it? We should be careful of that.
It is not automatically renewed.
Yeah, it was a 1-year deal we signed.
Was it 1-year contract? Yeah. So
It seems like it's just not,
it's, they just don't have a ton of titles. And believe it or not, we didn't resubscribe to Boundless and, they haven't turned us off. We're getting more circulations on Boundless without pushing it. So I don't know, maybe we go back to Boundless and call it a day. Maybe we cut both of them and
just keep the hoop up,
we keep,
but keep it limited so people are getting access to it, but it's not like
yeah,
unlimited access, you know?
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, never do unlimited. But my daughter just found out that there's music on Hoopla, so we got
Oh,
a
boy.
new person checking out mute. I got her own account on Hoopla because she was using all my audiobook checkouts. Yeah, so I think that yeah, book club and mahjong are still the best attended programs. And yeah, we had power outages, we had crappy weather in February. I didn't write in my report, but Ellis is out for this week and next week from his surgery. So, one of the reasons it's so short is because I was at the desk while I'm writing this, and there's like 5 million people checking books in and checking books out and asking questions. And so I am Ellis and Allison. Or as Amelia calls
Allison.
Amelia calls Ellis and I both Ellison
Yeah.
because we are just now the same person. So now I'm Ellison officially, and Ellis deserves a huge raise. A huge raise. His job is really hard. Yeah, and I miss all the things that he does for me every day.
When is he coming back? What date?
The 24th, I think,
Oh,
the last Monday of the month.
Get him a cake, just cake for him,
Yes.
no one else. Big sheet cake.
He'd be so excited. No dairy, no dairy. But yes, he does accept bribery in all confectionery forms. So that's me. That's my song and dance. Thank you, thank you.
Just
Brings us to our conclusion. We haven't made a motion today.
I haven't, so the conclusion too. I mean, make a conclusion. Middle of the day. I make a motion to close the meeting, or do I need to make a motion for something else? Okay, I make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Right.
Aye. All right, meeting adjourned at 1:42.
Sweet.
Look at us go. Oh, let me turn off the recording.